Hey folks, this is Matt once again with yet again another random review. Well, sort of, because a long while ago I had seen The Descent Part 2. And if you want to hear my thoughts, you'll hear about that next time. But I figured since I reviewed it, I didn't put it up because I thought, well, I'm doing the list, but since I'm going all over the place, why not? Now, wait a minute, why don't I review the first movie? Which is, of course, The Descent. And I know, once again, you cannot see the picture because it's a shitty camera, shitty lighting. Good camera, shitty lighting. But this is the unrated widescreen version. And, actually, shit, this is full screen. Fuck. I don't even know what to put that. I usually just, for some, I don't know why I thought it is the full screen version, yeah, unrated. Okay. The story's pretty simple. You have the character of Sarah. Starts out with her sort of doing white water rafting. She's going home with her husband and kid, and unfortunately there's a really horrific accident with some really gnarly old school prosthetic. Probably a little bit of CGI, but it was just, the way it looked was very harsh, ruthless gore. And the little kid and the husband get killed. And really ruthless gore. And it's a little time after, and she sort of brought with her friend Juno and some others have come to this cabin because they don't want to explore this cave. And they just decide to explore the cave, and they quickly find out that Juno brought them to a cave that they never planned for. Because they would stake out the cave and see if it's safe or not, and tell people where they were just in case. But Juno decided to do this unexplored cave out of the blue to sort of give Sarah a jolt, give her, some fun, some adventure. But of course, there's a cave in, they get stuck, and obviously they meet these creepy crawlers, which are blind. They can see through sound, basically like bats can. And they seek and hunt via sound, and you start one by one, they start being knocked off until you have Juno and Sarah, and Juno accidentally hears someone behind her, kills someone on accident, and she doesn't know what to do, so there's nothing she can do, so she leaves. Sarah finds the girl that's been stabbed, and she's told that Juno got her and left her there, and also adds that Juno was sleeping with Sarah's husband. And so that little bit of anger, Sarah sort of becomes a fighter, kills some crawlers of her own. Very badass, a lot of blood, gore, attack sequences. Slashes Juno in the leg, with her little pickaxe, and leaves her there to die, which in the sequel you find out, well, you'll find out in my review of it. And it ends with, and of course this is the original ending where you think she's escaped, but then it switches back, she's still in the cavern, and she sees her daughter, and she's sort of out of it, And you hear the crawlers, the noise is getting louder, so they might get her eventually, and she's sort of just there staring at her daughter. And the movie ends. So, okay, whoa, that's depressing. It's not as depressing as when you see the sequel, though. So, because a little early peek in the sequel, of course they go with the theatrical ending that she got away, but it's stupid. You'll find out why. But, if you really want to think about, okay, she's there, they haven't killed her yet, maybe it's one of those moments where they sort of, it's like her daughter sort of tells her via her mind, because it's her imagination, keep fighting, keep going, get out. And then she gets out, and then boom. But, it won't matter because it's a sequel, but anyway. What makes this film work is, and I've seen the sequel now, and it's a great compare and contrast, because this film does it right. Neil Marshall, director. I like Dog Soldiers. but did not care for Doomsday. He knows how to use shadows and how the darkness can be a great weapon in suspense. The creatures look a lot better, maybe because they had a bigger budget, maybe because the director knew how to use it. Maybe it's the lighting, because in the sequel they get very overlit. Here it's not lit, and when it's lit it has a reddish, like blood, reddish look to them. To the lighting, I mean. I didn't do blood and stuff, and you have very intense sequences. I don't think I'm claustrophobic, but at the same time, I think I could definitely feel being claustrophobic. I can understand that fear, and being stuck in this very little space with these things crawling around. It really does a great job. The characters, there's a little bit more meat to them. Decent actresses as well, although some of them are pretty forgettable. Again, you get some good attack sequences, solid makeup effects and gore. And overall, it's just at times intense and well done, well directed, decent characters, solid action. It does its job well. And if you want to see it done in a shitty way, you have a couple choices. You have The Cave, which I think is PG-13. If it's not, it seems like a PG-13 movie with a lot of CGI and boring pace and boring characters. And this is rated R. I mean, this is unrated, I should say. And I didn't see much of CGI, especially the creatures. They're old school creatures. And another shitty way, The Descent 2, which you'll know why I hated that movie next time. But I'm not sure what else to say. I mean, it's the reason I like it. I mean, it's not a film I rewatch all the time because the ending is somewhat depressing, especially now given the sequel that came out. And there's certain characters that are sort of you don't really care too much about them. But it's not a horrible movie at all. It's a really solid movie. It's definitely worth your time, with your effort. If you're a horror fan, it's definitely worth a look. If you're claustrophobic, you don't have a hell of a time. The director Neil Marshall uses his environment well, uses the lighting, and has some good intense moments. Decent creature effects. It's lit the right way, and it's not overlit, so it's a little bit of mystery there. Some good gore, and now I'll repeat myself, but the Sarah character has a much better arc than in the sequel. Much better arc where she's out of it and she gains strength and fights back, and you understand why, because of the horrific accident that you see at the beginning, why at first she's sort of distant. It's understandable, and it's a well done movie. I just don't rewatch a lot, it's not by choice, that's just how it goes. But it's not on my favorite horror film list, but it's definitely a film that's worth your time and is worth your effort. Sequel, on the other hand, you'll find out. But thanks for watching this rambling review of The Descent. And if you haven't watched it, you definitely should take a look at it. It's a well done horror film. So thanks for watching, and take care. Later.